You probably spend a lot of your time online. You be scrolling, checking out comments, watching videos, and you getting to see that a whole lot of people have specialized themselves in scrutinizing other people's lives and pointing out their flaws and tearing them up. We have become judges, right? We would zone in on somebody's life while we are behind the camera, probably even without our faces showing, and we can say all of these things about their lives. We can bring it to the forefront. And I'm not saying that this is good or bad because we are shedding light on the cancers that are corrupting and eating up our society. But we are now saying we have to balance the equation. We have to balance this with solutions, right? When you are online, you don't see a lot of people talking about, oh, okay, this is going on and this is affecting us in this way. And this is what we need to do to be able to overcome it. And we ought to initiate that so we can overcome it. A lot of people don't approach things from that standpoint. But here at the Chosen's Path, with me being your host, the common denominator, that is how we are going to tackle it. We're going to look at the problem. We're going to see the cause. We're going to see the effects. And then we're going to get to the solution. So please do like the video. That way we can really get this awareness to trickle out some more. We want more and more people to subscribe to the notion of we are not going to be stuck on problems. In our personal lives, we are not stuck on problems. In our personal lives, when we get to come across problems, we look for ways to overcome it. So we should project the same type of mindset in our communities and online as well. Wouldn't you agree? If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. I really do appreciate it because, like I said, this is the age, this is the time, and we are now attaching ourselves to movements that we see are bettering ourselves and also the collective as well. So if you see that the work that I am doing is echoing and reverberating and it is resonating with you the right way and you feel like it could better somebody else's life, please do subscribe, share the video, and drop your comments below. So let's get right on into it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Most problems stand out and are easily identified, so it's easier to stay focused on the problem. Yes. You see, whenever there is an issue that we bring up over and over and over, it becomes that great elephant in the room. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it's there. Everybody points the finger at it. And everybody stays focused on the problem, right? So we get to see why the problem stays persistent because everybody can see it and nobody's looking at how can we get the elephant out of the room. We're wondering how did the elephant even get through the door? But we are not seeing that the elephant is here though, and it's making us feel uncomfortable. So how do we take care of this situation? A lot of people don't get past that stage, right? Most people are afraid to take on problems, so they would rather talk about it from a distance with the hopes it would remove itself, which it never does, or that somebody brave enough would step up to it. We are talking about the elephant in the room. We are getting to see why a lot of people just let problems persist, right? A stitch in time saves nine. Sometimes the problems start off really small and are ignored or overlooked, only for the problem to turn out to be so big that most would rather let it consume them than find a way to get rid of it. It really starts off really, really small. Sometimes this is even right from within us. We identify certain things within us that we can overcome, but we don't overcome it. We let it persist, persist, persist. And even those in our environment, since they themselves have their own problems that they're focusing on, they ignore your problems, then it just becomes a bigger problem. Now everybody's looking at the bigger elephant in the room, my dear brothers and sisters. Some people have the it is not my responsibility mindset. So even when they see something going wrong or something that could be done better, they would rather keep quiet about it till it becomes a bigger problem for everyone to deal with. Ties in with the very first point, right? And we're starting to see that it cannot be like that anymore. We truly have to be looking out for each other. We are not going to, eventually be dealing with a society where everybody now is just focusing on their problems. Meanwhile, the problems that we are focusing on actually just ties into a bigger problem that we are being kept from really seeing, right? The bigger elephant in the room. That's what we're getting at, and we're getting to it. See, here at the Chosen's Path, we have to really tackle it. That way you see the root cause. We're not just dusting things off of the surface. Now we're getting really to the bottom of it. So I want you to be excited. I want you to be excited because I want you to know that here you're going to see the root of why you have to deal with what you're dealing with. And we're going to tackle it from our distant spaces, but we're going to tackle it now with our minds. The warfare is mental, my dear brothers and sisters. Yes, some people believe that they will be blamed for the problem if they point it out. So they just carry on till the problem becomes big enough for everyone to be aware of it. And we know that is not the right mindset for us to harbor. We don't wait for the problem to explode, and now we have so many different casualties and so much that we have to deal with when we could have tackled it when it was still at the infancy stage. Right? I'm not going to keep y'all on here much long. I'm just pointing out these key points that way we can really start to meditate on some of these points. As we are stepping into this golden age, you and I have a very, very big role to play. I want you to connect with the first video that we did, the previous videos that we did, so you get to see how it's all building up. Now let's talk about why some problems linger around much more longer than others. There is this fear of addressing the elephant in the room. And the previous points already justify this main point. Some believe that they are going to benefit more if the problem is there, because some people have found ways to make themselves much more lucrative by maintaining problems rather than tapping into solutions, right? Some people choose to categorize it as not a big deal and they can deal with it later. So you're getting to see why some problems linger around, why some problems persist. Because some people are saying, well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. And they know it is a big deal. But they're only saying that because they do not want to have to take on the responsibility that comes with tackling the problem. Some people fear making the problem worse. Right? They say, well, I mean, if we touch it, it's going to turn into something else. So we're not even going to talk about it. We're not even, in fact, let's just put on some dark shades like I got mine on right now and just act like the problem is not even there. Let's ignore the elephant in the room, right? Some people fear making it worse. Some people are trying to figure out who caused it, right? We are looking at the problem. We're saying that, yes, there is a problem here. Just like the tale of the person that was much more worried about who put a hole in the boat. Meanwhile, the boat was sinking, and rather than them working on patching up the hole, they are fighting over who put a hole in the boat. So some people are trying to figure out who caused it. It gives people something to talk about. Problems give people something to talk about. And a lot of people love to be entertained by knowing other people's problems. A lot of people would rather sit down and listen to your problems rather than talk about, well, this person is going through this. What can be done for them to overcome it? And mind you, this is all conditioning. That's why we're bringing it to the forefront so you can see the root. We can see that we are being conditioned to be complacent with problems rather than saying, how do we get to make sure that this person is doing well? Because if that was me, I would love to be doing well as well. I would love to be feeling much more better than having to deal with that problem. So how can we now tap into the solutions to get that person to not experience that? But, we're getting to see that the time it will take trying to figure out a solution, some people would rather just avoid the whole solution altogether and just stick with the problem, try to endure through with the problem rather than tackling the problem. They don't want to have to find out the time to figure out what the formula is going to be. Even if there was a formula, some people don't even want to take out the time to go through the process that it's going to take to overcome the problem. So some people rather just stick with the problem, and then it becomes a norm to them. And then when they see you coming through talking about the problem, you actually become now a bigger problem because you're bringing it down to their awareness, right? But let's keep it going. What happens to those who solve the problem? If you are someone who is a problem solver and you are seeing that a lot of people are actually benefiting from problems, you become a problem to those who are benefiting from the problem. And you are actually just trying to make it better for everyone, right? But they're seeing you as a problem. So a lot of people, would rather have the problem linger around because they've seen what happens to those who are trying to solve the problem. And to them, they're like, this is not worth it. I'm not going to put myself through none of that because I'm not trying to be viewed as a problem. Let's get to the last highlight, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm hoping that y'all are connecting with me on this journey, right? Because like I said, we are now initiating this golden age consciously. I want y'all to maintain that. I want y'all to plug into this. And yes, type below, drop your comment below, say, yes, I am connecting in with the golden age. Yes, I am a part of the golden age. Yes, I am bringing about the golden age. Yes, this is not something we're going to leave up to another generation. This is not something we're going to see as it has to happen at a distant time. We see that it starts within our own minds. The gold is within us. We're tapping down into the inner gold and we're bringing it out into the light. Here we are. We're going to connect with the last point, why it's important to develop a solution-based mindset. And then we're going to wrap it up. You see, problems don't take care of themselves, right? We have to realize that a lot of the stuff that we're looking at in our society today that we're expecting that somebody else is supposed to take care of, a lot of people have already harbored the mindset of, we're just going to tackle that later, or it's not that big of a deal. And you getting to see that problem is not going to take care of itself. So within yourself, you're going to have to do something about it, right? From figuring out a solution or formula is developed, making it easier to overcome similar problems in the future. Very, very true. You're seeing that is a very, very serious point, and that is why we're grateful for a lot of the people that came before us that took it upon themselves to dive into science and come up with these different formulas that could make life better for all of us, because they have come up with solutions that we can apply to most problems, and it'll completely eradicate the problem. You liberate yourself and others from the burden of the problem. This is indeed one of the biggest rewards. We avoid letting problems build up, which makes it difficult to take care of later. Remember, we are discussing the importance of developing a solution-based mindset. We begin to identify what could go wrong and set prevention strategies in place. We also build a community that thrives on considering the betterment of ourselves and others. My dear brothers and sisters, we are going to conclude this video at that point. We are now thinking about thriving, not just individually. We are now thinking about the collective, not just our communities, not just our countries. We are thinking now about the globe because it is our planet, right? So just to recap what we covered today, we talked about becoming a more solution-oriented society and even a more solution-oriented people, from the individual and to the macro level. We talked about the big elephant in the room. We talked about why some problems linger around longer. And we also talked about why it is important to develop a solution-based mindset. Thank you so much for staying with me up until this very point. I'm hoping that some of these points are going to resonate with you, and you are going to carry the energy with you as you are going about your daily activities. You are going to realize that you have to become a solution-based individual, not just for yourself, but also for your community. When you come across problems in your life, you don't run away from them. You find ways to tackle it. And once you are seeing problems in the world, you don't feel like the world is out to get you. You don't feel like the world is crushing on you. You put your mind in with other individuals who are thinking about solutions and find ways, even if it is in the most little ways. You tap into that and see how you can project that in your community to bring about the best results. When you make mistakes, you learn from them. It is not to say that on the quest to bringing about solutions, you're going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but it is from those mistakes that we learn how to better the situation. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening up until this very point. I really appreciate all of y'all. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Peace.